and welcome to another episode on Policy Square. Policy Square is an initiative by Primus Partners in collaboration with Business World, our media partner. This is an effort to create rich conversations with unique insights around the diverse nature of policy and government. In this episode on Mission Karmayogi, we are joined by two public sector experts, Mr. Adil Zainulbhai, Chairman, Capacity Building Commission, and Hemang Jani, Secretary, Capacity Building Commission. Adil, Hemang, welcome to Policy Square. In April 2021, Honorable Prime Minister launched Mission Karmayogi and the Capacity Building Commission for civil services capacity building as a mid-career continuous learning national program. So can you tell us some highlights, some triggers in terms of what were the learning and development needs of civil services, any gaps, challenges that would have formed the backdrop to the launch of Mission Karmayogi?
So I'll start, and I think Hemang has been involved with it for 3 years or 4 years, so he will not follow the background. But I think let me describe what it is, and then we can talk a little bit about how it came to be and what was the background. I think the idea is that for the government and civil services to deliver what is required of the civil services for the citizens and the country, they must each civil servant must be armed with the right training, capability, systems, whatever is required so that they can do it. It's not enough that they are in place. It is that they should have all the tools necessary and all the knowledge necessary. So that was the first sort of thinking, and that's what we're trying to do. And the second one is that, if you think about adults, learning is very, very different from learning in schools. In schools, you can have a teacher said, study this, and, they will study it and it's fine. By the time you're 16, 17, 18, or even in college, you can do that. But for adult learning, all principles of adult learning are that you have to teach it differently and you have to build the capacity differently. It cannot just be classroom. That is not the only part of it. And second is that people want to learn when they need it. You can't say, here's 20 things that you should learn sometime within the next 10 years, it'll be useful. Adults don't learn like that. On the other hand, if you need something, then you're really willing and open to do it. So let me give you a trivial example. Let's say that you're getting a computer, you have to get on the computer and start a new program. And you have to do it tomorrow, and if you don't do it, it won't work. Right? So you're now very open to somebody telling you how to use the program. But if I talked to you about that 5 days ago, or 3 weeks ago, or 3 months ago, you wouldn't really care, right? Because you don't know when that will come. So that is the second principle, which is that this is a lifelong learning for civil servants. Whenever they really need something is when we should be able to provide it, and that it should be driven not by a stick. You have to do this. It should be driven by their needs, requirements, and they should pull. Our sense is that in many places, if you provide the right kinds of teaching and the right kind of capability building opportunities, then people will pull a lot more. You don't have to say you will do so many hours of training. People will do that and more. Right? So that is what we're trying to do in Mission Karmayogi. It's not a single program. It is an overall approach to do something. But you can give the background, Hemang, since you were involved in thinking about it over 4 years.
Thank you. So, see, India's ambition in 21st century are way, way, way beyond anyone could have imagined before 10 years. And to meet the overall objective of, say, a 5 trillion economy, making India Atmanirbhar, creating ease of living for every citizen, we also need a 21st century civil services. Now, to have 21st century civil services and to enable them to deliver the public service that we want for the new India, we also need 21st century enabling environment. So the essence of Mission Karmayogi is enabling the path of action for every civil servant. As our Honorable Prime Minister puts it, every civil servant is the sevak. The ultimate goal of government is Antyodaya, reaching out to the last mile of citizen services. And if you know, in Gita, chapter 3 talks about Karma Yoga. That is, let there not be inaction. So how do we enable the path of action for every civil servant? And perhaps this is one of its kind program that has been launched globally in maybe last 2 or 3 decades, where we are covering 3 million civil servants at the central government level. And if we touch all the civil servants in the country, including the states governments, the number goes up to somewhere around 30 million civil servants. So that's the essence of our work. It's called National Program for Civil Service Capacity Building. It was approved in September 2020 and launched in April 2021 last year.
I think you addressed it being future ready. And with that, 2047 is a developing dialogue for the government. So will CBC, the Capacity Building Commission, do you foresee a role for setting aspirational goals and becoming future ready for 2047? I know you said it's not, 2030 your vision, but are you planning also to play a very key role towards this development and the change?
See, I put it this way. As I already mentioned, that any capacity building without a North Star doesn't give you enough results. So ultimately, our North Stars are what? The goals of 2047 for Amrit Kal, the goals of 5 trillion economy, the goals of Atmanirbhar Bharat, and the goals of delivering citizen services so that it improves ease of living. So these are the overarching goals by which all our activities and all our efforts and interventions are guided. But of course, immediately we need to solve the challenge of immediate short-term future. That how do you deliver something better in, say, next 2 years or in next 5 years? So that is where the operational goals become important, and that is how we are looking at this.
You've just completed an annual.
Well, I want to add
Yes.
something to what you said, right? So let's take 2047 as an interesting thing. Each ministry is trying to think about what will their ministry's goals be over 2047, right? So we are not mandating or telling them what they should be, right? But as they are thinking about it, they come to the conclusion that we don't even know how to think about this longer term, right? Can you help us, guide us as to how to think? What are the things we should know so that we can think about this? So we are not telling them what the answer is, but we are telling them, for example, okay, if you have to think about 2047 and long-term visioning, here are the skills you should develop, and we'll help you curate how to get to those skills, right? So then now you decide what 2047 should be. We are not,
right.
So we are always focused on how to enable ministries and departments and the civil servant get what they have to get done, right? We are not doing it for them. So even in 2047, we are not going to tell them what the goals are. They have to figure it out, and they need help to figure it out. We're happy to guide them in what skills are required and how to do it.
So as I was saying that you've completed a year's your first anniversary this April, and what has been the response? You mentioned the states are asking, the districts are asking.
Hemang is in the center of all of it, so I'll ask him to take the lead on this.
So what has been the response, both in terms of the intention of capacity building as well as the need to accommodate the changes in status quo that would result from such a capacity building program?
In fact, response has been overwhelming and even better than what we had even imagined. Because ultimately, when you go to a very busy department, you think that, oh, nobody wants to think about training or nobody wants to talk about it. It was completely reverse. In fact, people were waiting that somebody should ask us, what do we want to learn or what do we want to know? And oftentimes we don't think about very small things, but so far in last 1 year, all our asks from the department or demand has been on very small and very normal things. That okay, let us equip our people with functional competencies. How do you apply financial rules in particular situation? How do you do procurement? How do you even think about serving a citizen with some ticket window clerk? How do you talk to them? So very, very basic operational and functional things have come out as demands, and we have also been able to solve them. In last 1 year, the approach we have taken is, first we spend a lot of time in designing the approaches for our various interventions. Then we started piloting them so that we learn, we get quick lessons out of it, and we can do course correction. And we have already covered almost more than 15 departments where we have piloted one or the other intervention. We have touched upon around, say, 5% of the 3 million civil servants that we hope to cover in next 2 years as part of various different interventions. One of the important thing which I want to highlight is, training is only one way or one tool of capacity building. we are also experimenting with many non-training tools. For example, Chairman Adil already mentioned that in civil aviation, we are trying how can we experiment with industry immersion. So in various departments, various such non-training interventions, enabling environment-related interventions. How do you improve your organization structure? Because unless you provide enabling environment, individuals can't perform. So we are experimenting a lot with them also, and so far we have very encouraging results and encouraging response from everywhere.
It's very hopeful. Now, both of you come to Mission Karmayogi on the back of very glorious careers and tremendous delivery that you have shown. But it's been a shift from private sector to practicing public policy experts. How would you reflect on your personal journeys, Adil?
So I ran 35 years in McKinsey, serving largely private sector, but also some public sector entities. And last 7-8 years, I've been more involved with the public sector because of my role as Quality Council of India, etc. And I think, one is as I reflect, all of us are very lucky to have this tremendous opportunity. Sometime in your life, you're at the right place at the right time with the right skill sets. Right. So, and it's somehow, you don't know how it got there, but somehow you get there and you get this great opportunity. And so I view it as, the 35, 40 years of our experience in various things, or my experience, and Balu's experience in 35, 40 years, and Praveen's experience in 35, 40 years, and Hemang's experience, all has come together at the right point at the right time. So, when you're given this kind of an opportunity, which matches with what you've done before in some way, not completely, of course, then you'll worry less about what is the transition and all. You worry about, my God, I've got this great opportunity. How do we make sure that we deliver on it, right? So that is what we spend all of our time worrying about, that, not how we got here. Sometimes luck plays a lot in it, right? If this had happened 10 years ago, I don't think I would be able to do it. So, but now with all this experience of working with different organizations, we can adapt faster to this. And, this is a high priority for the Honorable PM. And that gives you a lot of confidence to get things done. And so, it's not that we don't question what can be done and what cannot be done, but we have so much momentum and so much support that we leverage our knowledge. And then it is up to us. We have to change to be able to adapt to this. Not everyone is given a great opportunity.
True.
Okay? So, but we have been given a huge opportunity and a challenge. And I think that is how, so when we reflect, that is what we reflect on. My God, this is such a huge opportunity. Everything that I've ever learned, let's put it in here and make it work.
Absolutely.
And yes, there will be, problems along the way, but so what? Right? It is, that is my reflection, which is, the nature and scale of impact can be huge. And everything that we have learned is applicable. Hemang has incredible experience with World Bank and with PwC before that, and working with the PM's office, right? So he understands how to make things work in the government, how to make things work in, World Bank kind of environments, what resources are available where. Balu has a huge background in tribal affairs, NGOs, civil society, leadership training. So his network and knowledge, is extraordinarily valuable in what we're doing. Praveen has worked in government for 35 years. So he knows how to make things work in government, right? And all of those complementary skills, very rarely do you get a chance where it's a little bit like, in a jigsaw puzzle, if you have the wrong pieces, you can't do the jigsaw puzzle, right? In a sense, we have the right pieces. Right? Somehow it came together. So let's leverage the right
time. And for you, Hemang?
So for a mid-career professional like me, and for someone who has done inside and outside government for many times now, it's always a very humbling experience. And that is what keeps me grounded. Because the sheer scale of work and the sheer scale of impact you can make, particularly in India, is always astonishing. So that is what attracts me, and that is what also keeps me grounded in all the work we do. And also working with such a dream team like Adil, Praveen and Dr. Balu is a great learning opportunity. Because for me, I have a 20 or 30 years career ahead of me. And whatever I learn from this experience is going to help me tremendously. And it's also, of course, going to help the country tremendously. So that, and of course, working with public sector gives you also pride of doing some national service. We come from private sector, and we only see our friends in civil services and forces serving the country, and we always feel that, hey, how do I contribute? So it's a great opportunity for contributing to the national development as well.
Thank you, Adil. Thank you, Hemang, for
I want to
shaping.
add one other thing,
Yes, sure.
if you don't mind.
No, not at all.
One of the things that I want to say to whoever views this, which is many of your clients and others, particularly in the private sector, what I wanted to say is that the opportunity to apply knowledge that one has learned over many years in the private sector is extraordinary. And the opportunities for people to come and help the country develop are huge. And so in all our networks, we are encouraging people to say, why don't you come and do some national service? Come for 6 months, come for a year, come for 5 years, come for a month, whatever. But and this is part of your citizen thing, right? But it's an elite citizen, an elite set of people who got great experience. Why don't you participate in helping make things happen, right? Don't just sit outside and criticize and say this is not working, this is not working. Now you have an opportunity to come in and help correct some things like we are, doing. And so I would encourage a lot of people to give it a try.
That's a wonderful message. And on that note, thank you both for adding to this understanding and shaping this whole dialogue with us.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.